Yeah, copy that, Andre. Let's leave it on for these high speed on that.
Hello everyone, welcome to Le Mans, the Circuit de la Sarthe in France, and we are gearing up for the start of the 83rd edition of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Support races have already happened, and we've managed to grab one of the winners of the Aston Martin Festival that he was just standing outside our studio actually. Thomas Lecole, thank you very much for joining us and congratulations on taking victory.
Thank you very much. A Le Mans win on the CV will go down very well without too much detail quite explaining it.
Yeah, a bit of a complicated race. We won't go into that. But this not only is your first time on track, this is your first time at the race.
My first time here. You know, I've always wanted to come, but previously it's always clashed with other commitments, other racing commitments and so on. So I've been here from Tuesday and I've had the best week so far. You know, winning the race is kind of tops it off, but I'm looking forward to now helping the guys just sort everything out back at the truck, and we're going to go off around the circuit and enjoy the atmosphere and take in the race. What's
been your impression of this as an event?
I think the biggest thing for me is the vast amount of people. Like, it's changed so much over the week. When I came on Tuesday, I was, to be honest, a little underwhelmed, and I was looking around, everything was quite quiet. And then all of a sudden, on Wednesday and Thursday, everything has ramped up massively. Everything is now open and flowing, and there's people everywhere. The atmosphere is great. The sun's even shining for us, which yesterday didn't look so good.
And you've now got yourself a podium selfie of Le Mans.
Yeah, and I even got to hold the outright Le Mans 24-hour trophy in the trophy room there as well. So, you know, one day I hope to genuinely have my hands on that, but for now I'll take a sneaky grab as I pass.
So, as you said, Tom's first chance to have a look around the circuit, and our chance now to look at some of the unique features of this Le Mans 24 Hours Circuit de la Sarthe. Dominic Greihammer is on track.
Hi, my name is Dominic Greihammer. I'm racing driver of Team Rebellion Racing, and this year is my 5th participation at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. We're here at the Unaudière, a very long straight with two very interesting second gear chicane, and we're arriving at approximately 350 kilometers per hour at the first chicane, hitting the braking point at about 120-130 meters. It's very important to place the car well for the entrance and then the exit also, and take a good speed onto the next straight, because otherwise you will have a problem with your competitors. Here's a little story about the first chicane last year when it suddenly started to rain really heavily. I had a white wall in front of me, couldn't see anything anymore. Like, there were cars rushing by, and I didn't even know how the car was placed, and luckily I got out of that all without any issue, but I hope that it won't happen this year again. I count on you guys to be there at the 13th of June at the 24 Hours of Le Mans race to support me and my team Rebellion Racing, and to join us also on social media under the hashtag LM24.
Yeah, absolutely. A really unique circuit based around just public roads here at Le Mans, and basically the same roads that they've raced, Tom, from 1920s. What was your impression of the track itself?
Well, first and foremost, when we drove in, I travelled here with Paul White, who joined me in the 21 Bilstein car. And as we started to come in, I was like, hold on, I recognise this part. And we drove in on the public roads, down the Mulsanne and so on. And as a track, I think I tried to learn it on the sim. And again, you just couldn't get a feel for it. It felt like the straights were incredibly long and almost, you know, almost took they are. But they, you know, when you're in the sim and you don't have the bumps and the feel to it, it was, you know, it was quite tame. And then you get your first laps out there and wow, you need those straights to comprehend what's coming up. The track is incredible. You know, I haven't had a huge amount of laps this weekend, but I have gone out there and I haven't held anything back. I've tried to make the most of my time.
And you had a safety car period. Did you have a chance to look around and see the spectators around the track?
Well, I've actually been very fortunate. My part of the race was all green flag, and as I handed over to Paul, he unfortunately got the safety car stint. So I hope the crowds, the views and so on made up for the lack of driving that he's got.
Yeah, because drivers do say certainly in the evenings that you can smell all the barbecues coming in through the car, and it's a very unique part of the race when the sun goes down at about 10 o'clock. Now, one person, Tom, that you never want to see at a race meeting is the clerk of the course or any race directors. So I'm going to let you go whilst we learn about what they do here at Le Mans.
C'est bien. Zone 33. Pardon, messieurs, pardon.
The official race marshals meeting is just going on behind me. Earlier on, I met up with Michel Dumio, the deputy sports manager.
This meeting is a briefing for the marshal before the race. We need to explain each detail of the security during the race, so all the marshals and the chief marshal are here present. They are in charge of the security during the race. They are the eyes and the ears of the director of the race. During the race, they are each side of the track, and they communicate with the driver with the flag. Come from everywhere in the world, because to be marshal in Le Mans is a reference for the marshal. So we are very happy to have a commissaire from United States, Australia, Germany, everywhere. And there are 1,700. All these people are volunteers. This is a specificity of SEO. All the marshal for all race, car, bikes, all the marshals are volunteers.
And a massive array of marshals needed around the circuit, marshal posters, something crazy amount of people from around the world flying flags and making sure that the guys on track can be safe. We're going to come back in a couple of moments with the representative from Shell, Peter Foreman, but before that, here's a little break.
Faced with unpredictable weather, how do you keep danger at bay? Today, Michelin creates Cross Climate. The first tyre able to cope with unexpected weather thanks to its revolutionary performances. With the Michelin Cross Climate innovation, arm yourself for every weather condition. Michelin, a better way forward.
Why this watch? This watch has seen machines perform poetry, and memories come rushing back. It has witnessed man test his will
272 miles an hour.
and the laws of physics. It has decided fates by thousandths of a second and seen a champion knighted. It doesn't just tell time, it tells history.
Welcome back to the stage here in the 24-hour Inside programme. At the bottom of the paddock, overlooking the Ford Chicane and the Porsche Experience Centre, we are in the heart of the action to give you the behind-the-scenes look of everything happening at Le Mans. For On Track, remember, download the app. You can watch all the On Track action with British commentary, live timing and classifications, and that is available on the App Store. But this is your place to talk to all the people who make this race happen, from stewards. We obviously had a driver just a second ago, and now we have a representative from Shell. Peter Foreman, thank you very much for joining us.
Good afternoon. Pleased to see you, Ben.
Now, one thing you may not know is that Shell supply the fuel to every single race car here at Le Mans. I only learned this a couple of days ago when I saw your logos and said, why is Why are they there?
Well, yes, we indeed do. We supply the fuel to the 24 hours and to Le Mans since 2006, I think. And basically every car, not basically, every car is on Shell fuel, yes indeed.
And how does that fuel get distributed? Because the one thing I haven't seen is lots of Bowsers everywhere.
Right, okay. Quick explanation. There is 56 tanks here. Each of these tanks supplies the fuel to the car and to the pit where the car is looked after. We supply the fuel prior to the race and prior to the test day. We fill each of these tanks. So basically we bring in 8 trucks from Hamburg. This is where our R&D facility for motorsport, the motorsport hub for Shell is. This is where we run our activities from. This is where the recipe and where the fuel is made. We bring it down here, we fill the tanks up, the cars run the test day, and we have several refueling, refilling of these tanks. The last one actually happened Friday morning between 6 and 10 o'clock.
How very interesting. And so roughly how many litres worth of fuel are we going to get through? We're not getting through as many as we did a few years ago, are we?
No, but that is because of the technical regulation and the innovation, of course. We came here to say, well, we are using approximately, we're bringing to make sure around 300,000 litres of fuel. Not everything has been used. A couple of years ago, when the technology was really pushed forward towards efficiency, we came here to say, we're here to use less fuel than we did the year before. And it kind of worked. So 300,000 litres, a lot of that has been used. The rest is going back. And then we, of course, supply the rest of the European Le Mans years on the WEC.
Peter, stay with us. We'll talk a little bit more, but we have obviously Shell supplying the fuel, vital to get every race car around the circuit. But another thing that's vital is those round black things, the Michelin tyres. And Michelin is a partner of the ACO for the Le Mans 24 Hours for 2015. So we get a chance to learn exactly how they work. Here's a little interview.
Well, you know, Le Mans is one of the most famous races for the whole year, and it's very important for Michelin to be here. I would say it's even natural because the spirit of Le Mans is very aligned with the philosophy of Michelin, which is come and test your product in the most difficult environment so you can prove the quality of your product and in our case of our tires. So we've been working with all the main teams during the whole season, during the winter, just to make sure that we are ready, and that's the weekend to show it now. What's very important is to have total trust, and that's what we do. We've been working with many years with all the main teams. And I have to say that the 24 hours start for us, the next one starts on Monday. As soon as the race is finished, we're going to analyze all the different data and try to see what can be even better. So we're going to do that during the rest of the year. Inter-season is very important during the winter, just to make sure that we understand correctly the feedback of the team as a driver, and then we will propose different new solutions so everything is ready for the race. Each technician dedicated for the team is going to give us some information, but some is shared between everybody and some information are really only for the engineers. That's point number 1. Point number 2 is that we're going to try to develop a specific tire for each team, but at the end of the day, each team can try the different solutions, so we show that we are not giving a silver bullet to only one team. But also what's very important is we want to make sure, since we are putting some very high technology in the tire, that the tire is not just going around and being potentially understood by other tire manufacturers. So we, as a matter of fact, we rent a tire, we don't sell a tire to the team, so the tire needs to come back to Michelin. And what you have to know is that in the contract between the teams there is a clause, a specific clause, which is that if they lose the tire, if one tire doesn't come back to Michelin, there is a penalty of 1 million euro. And by that we are showing that we are pretty serious about our technology.
So as we heard, Michelin creating bespoke tyres for most of the grid here at Le Mans, different tyres for different cars. In terms of the Shell involvement, Peter, is it different fuel for different cars, or is everyone on exactly the same level?
No, you have to divide it by 2, of course. The 3 Audi cars, of course, run on diesel. The rest of the field runs on exactly the same fuel. It is important to have an equal, even race. Technology-wise, the fuel is completely different from what you can buy at the petrol station. But that is because of the regulation and the innovation and the technology needed behind it. And fuel is just one component to make it happen. So 2 fuels, diesel and normal fuel, that's what we deliver.
Now, I understand, obviously, your involvement as a supplier began a few years ago, but you have a huge history as Shell in Le Mans race that, again, I didn't know about.
Yes, indeed. I was just thinking about it when, in the break. I think the involvement started, believe it or not, in 1924 with the Bentley winning. That was Shell-powered car. It continued on to the 1949s with Ferrari, into the 70s with the Porsches. We have the winning car from Hans Hermann here as a model. It continued on to the Audi relationship in the late 90s, and then continued on to the diesel development. And since a couple of years, we are the sole fuel supplier.
So you're definitely going to win.
With no specific involvement, kind of being the neutral fuel supplier to everybody.
Fascinating, and over 50% of victories at Le Mans have come with Shell fuel. So that's a really amazing and interesting little fact. Peter, thank you very much for joining us. We are going to have a third guest in our studio coming up in just a moment's time. But first, here's a little clip for you.
Le Mans, 1966. Henry Ford second attended and was given the honor of signaling the famous Le Mans start. Man against man, machine against machine. And the black number 2 Ford still holds the lead. First place, the number 2 Ford GT. Second place, the number 1 Ford GT. Third place, the number 5 Ford GT. An authoritative win for the American challengers.
Yeah, just some video. The announcement then that Ford are coming back to Le Mans in 2016 with a Ford GT in the GTE category. American team Ganassi will be running those cars and building those cars, and we have a representative from another American team. I understand ESM's first time at Le Mans. Scott Sharp, thank you very much for joining us. How much of a challenge do they have, and how much of a challenge have you had over the last couple of weeks?
Well, it's exciting for Extreme Speed Motorsports. Ever since we started the team about 6 years ago, Le Mans has been on the radar. We've had a couple different invitations, and for other reasons had to pull out. So it's great to finally be here for sure. A huge event. For us, it's, 24 hours are always really tough, undoubtedly. For us, we've changed 3 different chassis since what, February. So it's catching up to the brand new Ligier Honda package we have right now that we feel very strong about. Just so much is new for us, more than I think. So that's the biggest thing. You come to Le Mans, obviously it's an incredible circuit. A lot of the drivers are new to the track, but it's really just, I think, our team's trying to learn at such a rapid pace right now.
So are you learning about the Le Mans week as well as learning about the car?
Exactly. Yeah, we got the car literally as we went to Spa, and really most of Spa was wet. And we came here for the test day, and it was mostly wet. So we've really just been crying for some dry weather, which fortunately we had over the last couple of days, Wednesday and Thursday a bit, and today's fantastic. So we made some good changes to the car. It's pretty strong. It had a really good warm-up this morning. So we're, the name of the game in 24 hours is you got to be reliable. And I think if we can keep it all on the track and stay out of the garage, like everyone else says the same thing. But if we can do that and get to tomorrow afternoon, we're going to be in really good shape.
And it is worth pointing out to our viewers that whilst we haven't seen ESM at Le Mans before, incredibly successful out in the States, where you do have some pretty harsh conditions for racing.
It's true. It's true. I mean, what's good is, Ryan Dial and David Heinemar Hansen, my two teammates, have been here and both won here. And there's a number of guys on our team that have certainly been here with different teams, but collaboratively, it's our first time. So we have some experience here. We have some pretty strong, older guys that have been here probably 10, 11 times. So it's just working as a unit the most effectively way as we can.
And how important is Le Mans to America? We have a series there, but, I don't think many people know just how fanatical you guys are about this race.
I tell you, it's incredible here. I mean, I've been through 14 Indy 500s, and it's a lot of the same ambiance, the build-up, the atmosphere, but I think it's gotten even bigger. There's a larger crowd here today. It's got bigger television. So, certainly for us, I mean, we're sponsored by Tequila Patron everywhere else in the world, and they're making a big impact in globally and certainly in Europe. So, hopefully one of these days we'll be able to run Tequila Patron on the cars here and not have to deal with the French alcohol rules. But in the meantime, we have Rolling Stone this weekend, which is another great American icon. So it's good to be carrying and backing a US-based team.
Thank you very much for joining us. We'll continue chatting to you in just a second, but we're going to break away now to our technical expert down in the pit lane. Dave Spitzer has been digging around the backstage of a race team.
We know there's a lot going on inside a modern LMP2 car, but let's really get inside together. Let's have a close look. So here on the steering wheel, we begin at the top with the shift lights. These tell the driver as the RPM comes up when it's time to shift. We've got a button to flash the headlights. We've got a wiper. We've got the pit lane speed limiter. Here are two different dials to control the traction control as the track conditions change from dry to wet and in between. We've got a button to pump some water directly into his mouth, a drink bottle, right here on the steering wheel. And of course the radio, very important. Let's keep going. We've also got over here another control center for different parts of the car. This KYB, this is the steering. It changes the amount of power steering boost electronically. Here we have the engine map. And on this screen will be displayed other engine and transmission parameters, information the driver needs to know and potentially relay back to the team. Quite a lot of things going inside a very cramped space, all of it centered around a very professional driver and a big part of the team right here in the car.
As if by magic, we now have Dave Spitzer in the same T-shirt that you did that feature in, right here. A pleasure to have you, because viewers of regular web TV here at Le Mans will recognise Dave for the last couple of years as my partner in crime at 3 in the morning.
Yes.
With our Twitter feeds. We are going to have Dave throughout the weekend giving us more technical insight. Dave, that feature looks like there's a lot for a driver to do as well as drive around the track.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We've been given access behind the scenes, and that's part of the fun of 24H Inside. We'll be bringing that insider view. Yeah, a lot to do in the car. A lot of it is just giving the driver information. Clearly the crew knows and the designers of the car know. The driver's focus is out the front window. But there's a lot of things that he may need under certain conditions. Here, of course, on the Mulsanne straight and all the other different straightaways, he's got a little bit of time to think and to look at some different things. There's certain information that must be there. And the one thing I didn't show the fans in that particular feature, because it was an LMP2 car, in the LMP1 cars, they also have buttons and information related to the hybrid system. The ability to deploy the hybrid system and to control how it's deployed and when. So even more that's on the back of the driver. But you know, we say these guys are professionals. They are. In the testing and the training, they're learning not only the car, the track, the setup, but also all the controls and really getting all that ingrained so it's second nature.
We've got, we are just coming up to 1:30 in the local time here, and there's some live pictures of the pit report, what's it called? Grid walk.
Yes.
So it's still early. We haven't started the race yet. The grid walk and people filling the track. It's a wonderful atmosphere, getting ready for the start.
It's very exciting. Yeah, all the dignitaries are here. The flags are flying. The girls are all walking. There's grid girls walking around in various different dresses and everything. And it's really a big part of sports car racing around the world. There's so much anticipation and lead up to the race, and it's exciting to be part of it. We're bathed in sunshine today. It's absolutely gorgeous outside, which is really a blessing. So what a day. What a day for a race. I think everybody's ready to get started, but at the same time, enjoy all this pre-race stuff.
And some pre-race stuff that's already been happening that we had privy and access to as we are behind the scenes was the dinner with the various dignitaries of Le Mans and some legends of the track. And look where they actually positioned this particular dinner on the Ford chicane. Pierre Fillon, Jean Todt present, and this massive marquee just appeared on the last chicane for this wonderful evening.
It's amazing how things are growing here at Le Mans. Every year there's more and more, and now all the way down through karting and through the Porsche curves, there's more and more of these temporary buildings being built and some permanent buildings. So we're seeing growth here like we do all over, and it's wonderful to see. Every year Le Mans is bigger and better. So.
And to celebrate the history, Bruno van der Stick bringing a couple of the Toyota TS10 there, and there was a couple of other older cars play the identification game, the Aston Martin DBR 01. Darren Turner, I think, helmet there, but I'm not sure he was actually in the car.
Pretty good spotting, mate.
Yeah, well, that could be a complete lie. Well, we know this one, the Nissan, driven by Mark Blundell, and there is a tribute livery on the Nissan that's racing this weekend. The third car is running in exactly the same livery, and there's actually been quite a few of these sort of tribute liveries, and it's really wonderful to see. Again, a Mark Blundell helmet. I'm not entirely sure whether Mark Blundell was underneath it.
He was, actually. I saw this video when it was on the French side. Yeah, and I think it's one of the subjects, that is so important here at Le Mans, the history. We see the posters behind us. All the fans are students of history, and when you see these cars, they evoke such emotions from the past, the drivers, the same thing. So I think it's really part of what makes this race so special. All of us know this history is behind us, and it's what makes today so important.
83rd edition of the race, but due to the fact that there was a couple of years where we couldn't race at the Circuit de la Sarthe, it's over 90 years worth of racing here. Wonderful, and all these cars celebrating, including the most successful chassis to ever be at Le Mans, the Audi R8. Tom Christensen taking his first victory in 2000 in that exact car, and in fact, that is TK himself, or certainly his helmet, driving the car.
It is, and that brings back great memories for me. Of course, we raced here with Cadillac, and we raced against Audi with great respect, and they were successful that day. We weren't, but what an opportunity to race against some of the best. And so it's quite an honor to see that car, and it's exciting to. There's Scott Pruitt, our friend from the United States, so successful in the Tudor United Sports Car Championship, and for many years in many forms of racing. So they really got a lot of great guests for this.
They managed to get Mark Blundell into a race suit. It's been a few years, I'm sure, and the race seat.
And that was Ukio Katayama of Formula One fame and sports car racing.
And Jackie Ickx, famous Belgian driver, most successful behind this man, Tom Christensen. Christensen with 9, Jackie Ickx with
6, I believe.
Yes.
How'd I do?
Yes.
All right.
10 points. And TK actually in his original overalls from that win.
Oh, wow.
Is still a very fit man. In fact, he is for the Audi sport team. He is now the director of fitness. So he helps all the teams get fit, whereas Alain McNish, as a legend, is still involved with the strategy of the whole thing. Well,
right.
You've got a real bonus edition of the second one of the 24 Inside program here, a nice long version with 4 different guests. I hope you've enjoyed it, and in a couple of hours, we'll be back after the start of the race. Make sure you download the app, because here is live pictures of exactly what's going on. You're going to have live commentary. You're going to have special features on the app. Download it, pay your €10, and you'll have full 24-hour race action on your pad. And you can come and join us in a couple of hours for more inside the 24 hours of Le Mans. See you soon.
4 Hours of Le Mans mobile app. Total immersion in the heart of the world's greatest endurance race. All the teams and drivers, the timing, the classification, and countless videos on demand. With the app's live option, you don't miss a thing. You not only get streaming TV wherever you are, but also the choice of onboard cameras. Be among the connected crowd. Download the 24 Hours of Le Mans app today.
Yeah, copy.